Hey there, Daniel Hartman, Community Machinery, Sackville, New Brunswick, and finally an explanation of what happened with the self-loading compost spreader. First thing, we were overloading the top link of the tractor we were using. It was a Kubota. I don't remember if it was a 5,000 pound capacity or what it was, but the bolts were pulling out of the casting. Last thing you want to do is replace a differential housing on a tractor. I upsized the bolts, and I was told at one point that Kubotas have an under or overrated top link, so maybe it's particularly to Kubotas. But if I was designing my own tractor, I would love to see that as being some kind of steel that connected into some part of a frame of the tractor instead of a piece of cast iron, which is not readily repairable. So next thing, the variation in tractors. We did some market research. The Kubota that we were testing on was on the larger size of what people were using for market gardening. So as far as finding a one-size-fits-all model to develop, that was a really tough thing to do. We were already overweight, and we had a challenge with the agitator. The agitator was not working well. My sense of what we would need to put in is something like an apron chain, which you would use in a typically either ground driven or PTO driven manure spreader that would be towed behind a tractor. I mean, other people have seen them towed behind a little BCS tractor, which I think that's a similar thing where maybe paddles on a rubber conveyor belt. That would be similar to an apron chain. So the agitator needed improvement. There's no clear way of how to do that. The moisture level and the consistency of the compost, I believe what we were using at Broad Fork Farm was seafood based compost, and it just happened to work. It's like the deck was stacked in our favor. I had no clue. That was the first prototype that was ever built, and I think it's the only one who really has any video footage. There's another one that was shipped to a farm in Ontario that was doing some development work, and it wasn't a self-loading model. They were using a front-end loader to load it, and I don't know that they ever had any success. It was during the pandemic. Things weren't going well for me. I neglected to really follow up, but I don't think that it worked well for them. And that was one of my big regrets in terms of there wasn't the capital in the project to really remediate anything as far as here I shipped them something, it was paid for, and I did so much development work out of pocket. I was having a hard time paying the rent, and I went and sold something that didn't really work well, and I really regret that, and I still haven't made it right to this day. So that's one thing I've really learned in this project as far as who I want to be in this world, and a lot of the humbling things that can come up on our journeys. But if you've had those things happen for you, you're among friends here. No judgment. So the apron chain would be a big thing. The development costs on this project would really require market research to find out how many people would need these things and what the value is in order to justify however many thousands of dollars it would take to refine what this thing was. So the other challenge was the top link cylinder, which we were using, had a mechanism to have enough travel in order to pick the hopper up off the ground from scooping to spreading mode. So that particular linkage worked well on the Kubota tractor we were using. It wouldn't be something I would want to sell to anyone. On our second prototype, I tried linking two top link cylinders together, and I ended up hitting a bunch of hydraulic lines because the hydraulic hose is plugged in right next to where the top link was. That was on a New Holland that I think is in an Instagram photo on our Instagram account, Community Machinery. If you want to look it up, it's way back in, I think, October of 2019 maybe. So it's way back there. And there were a lot of limitations in terms of finding a way to get a cylinder with enough travel to lift that hopper. And the other thing is to make it work with a European style quick attach, triangle quick attach, which is a great thing because you don't need to get off the seat. The North American design is nowhere near what that design is. And I know there's a lot of people who market garden, and myself included, that you feel like you're getting older, you get something going on with your legs or mobility, or just not feeling that great that day. And if you don't have to get off a tractor seat, I know here we're always innovating things because I don't like spending a lot of time changing tooling, and that could be a real annoyance. And there's a principle in lean manufacturing, fix what bugs you. And for me, I wouldn't want to be changing 3-point hitch implements, especially alone, and especially as I get on in age. I know I get some SI joint pain and lower back pain, and I wasn't really taught, and there weren't a lot of people who are great as far as kinesiologists or whoever really watching my form. And now, there's poor practices, poor habits, and I haven't replaced them with mindful practices, and that's a challenging thing. So part of really having this design refined would be to make it work with the European quick attach. There was a way to do that with some additional hydraulic cylinders, which is also going to add more weight. So yeah, that would add to the development cost. So even though we're better equipped now, we got this press brake and a few other machines in the shop and know a lot more, it would still cost a significant amount. So unless someone steps forward and has funding or has an engineering background and has time to contribute, it's a project that's really on hold. The other thing, talking with someone who wasn't even familiar with tractors or farming or any of this stuff, the way a lot of us who are watching this video probably are, said it sounded like you kind of put the cart before the horse. As far as in my ideal world, I would develop a tractor that was dedicated to market gardening, that this would be the perfect attachment for, which, having the right weight capacity, having it just hook up in a really nice clean way, with the hydraulic lines being in the way, with having enough remotes, those would all be really important things. So yeah, and a lot of people have asked about buying a design or buying plans, and I mean, really, it was a pretty simple thing. It was a 10-gauge steel box. Using galvanized steel was one of the things I thought was really brilliant. And having the sides formed, I mean, the first prototype was not galvanized. The second one was. There's some parts laying around the shop still of a third one that never was assembled. So someday maybe there's something there that might become something. But at this point, it's something that I wouldn't want to sell to myself, so I wouldn't sell to others. And safety. Safety is always number one for me. I don't always live that, but it is my number one value in terms of, if you want to bring up people's trauma and people's grief and do something unsafe and have that in a community, that's where people are going to come up against their edges and really feel unsupported, uncared about. And I know a lot of people get into market gardening because they really care and they want to leave this place better than they found it. And safety's got to be one of those principles, and that's part of why I love centralized manufacturing, centralized design, to really refine things so people aren't just trying to patch things together on their own. It takes the stress off people who are farming to let them do what they really love and what they're really great at, and opens up a space where other people can design and innovate and hopefully find a way to make things the same ways a lot of market gardeners want to make food accessible to people, make the machinery to do the meaningful work accessible is a big part of what community machinery is all about. And it's a work in progress. If everything was done in a day, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it and there wouldn't be as much meaning in it. So on that note, thanks for your time, thanks for watching, thanks for your interest. As I say, there's pictures on Instagram. We're a community where we want to innovate, design, co-create. If you want to like and subscribe, that's really helpful. I just had got some emails and I regret that, I just thank everyone for their patience, that this is something I wish I'd created this video years ago, and it was such a humbling process that I hid out for months. And so if, as I say, you're among friends, if you've had something where you've ever hid out because you felt like you were going to be judged harshly for trying something, but trying something is better than doing nothing, and trying to do that thing safely, that's a really virtuous thing. So if you like, subscribe, check us out on our social media, Facebook, whatever. We try and share a lot of knowledge, how things are priced, what it takes to develop a product, what innovations So it might not be related to what you're specifically doing, but hopefully it's a place where there's creative, innovative ideas that are a great thread that get you inspired on your journey. Thanks so much. And hopefully there'll be more projects, more prototypes that are related to what you're doing.